Alright everybody, and welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Lemax, the Full Moon Diner. Let's get into it! Okay, so the Full Moon Diner, it was released in 2023, and the SKU number off the top is 35012. Now for some dimensions, we have 10.63 inches high, 11.42 inches wide, and 6.89 inches in depth. Product type, sights and sounds, and it is made of resin. Now let's talk power. This unit uses a single 4.5 volts DC adapter, and it draws about 330 milliamps. So I wouldn't recommend this for one of those multi-adapters because as soon as you start putting some other things on it, it's going to add up quickly. As for your switch, it is a standard power volume roll switch, and yes, this unit does have a soundtrack. Now let's talk price. This unit is going for about $119.99, and we're going to see why here in just a moment. And as far as the weight, I would say it's roughly in the neighborhood of 3 pounds or so. Okay, so that wraps up all of the facts. Now it's time we take a closer look. Okay, so starting from the top, there is so much to see on this unit. So let's start with the show itself, the Full Moon Diner sign. This is one of the first things you're going to notice when you look at this house. Absolutely stunning detail. The print is great. The way that the moon is hidden and then comes out is really pretty smooth, to be honest with you. And what's really cool is when the moon is closed, meaning the unit is inside each other, you can't tell at all that there's anything behind it. So it looks completely closed, like sealed. And then when it opens, you're going like, wow, like that's that extra level of detail we're seeing this year. Okay, as for the roof itself, kind of a standard Lemax roof. It is made of resin like we spoke about earlier, so similar molds kind of deal. Not crazy amount of detail on the roof, but let's be honest, you're not buying this piece for the color and the layout of the roof. But just a side note, there is a little owl up there that's kind of cute. Details okay on him, but nonetheless, it's the roof. Okay, now on to my favorite part of the whole building. It's the sign. This thing looks so much cooler in person than it even did just on the original release video that Lemax did. It looked cool, but you really can't take it in until you see this piece in person. The sign unit is so smooth and clean. So when this thing churns, it churns evenly, and when it comes together, you're just like, wow, like I want to see more of that kind of effect in Lemax houses. Very creative idea, but let me tell you, in person, super cool. As for the sign and what it says, you have come in for a bite, the Full Moon Diner, the best diner in town. And then on the flip side, you have hot coffee, fresh meat, beautiful moon news. So a little pun there. And lastly, we have stop by for a change. Okay, continuing to work our way around the second story of this place, there is some cool little window decals, some barrels, a little skull up there. Just kind of a little extra detail there, I guess. I mean, there's so much going on here that most of the time you're not even really going to notice those kinds of things. But it's nice to see that not only did Lemax focus on the big things, but they also took some time to really come up with something creative for the small things. Next up is another big showpiece. It is the Wolf himself. He's in like this little plastic bubble. It's a very hard plastic though, so you don't have to worry about it like, getting dented or anything like that, at least in my opinion. The wolf kind of comes up and down. He's kind of a half body wolf though. He's not full body, but really you don't notice that unless you're right up on this piece. It really does look pretty much completed for the most part, but he is highly detailed. He's looking at the moon. I imagine he's howling at the moon, if you will. But it's kind of cool. There's nothing else really inside of the bubble other than him. There's no other details or decals or anything like that. But on the outside, there is a cool little trim with more of those window-looking decals. There's some wood grain in there, if you will. Again, not highly detailed, but it's there. And the effect of the wolf and the moon moving together like that, it kind of just ties in the feel of the Full Moon Diner, right? I mean, it's really a cliche on the idea. For me, it really just works together as one. Okay, working our way to the bottom story here. We're going to start with the open 24 hours sign. Another good print. The sign doesn't really have any color to it or anything like that. I think it's because the main sign is one we just talked about earlier, but nonetheless, it's there. They're open 24 hours. There is a lot of other signs on there, like no silver utensils used on premises. There's a full moon special going on, and quite quite a few others along the way as well. As for the window itself, you know I love my interior windows with backgrounds, etc. This is no exception. It is clearly a lady having a meal with the wolf. Oh my god. There is a little background in there as well, and I will say it's actually pretty decently detailed in there. It's always fun to have a little look inside the building to see kind of what's happening there. There's also another little showpiece here. It's called the lunar calendar. Very nicely printed and detailed. A lot to see on that. It spins extremely smoothly and has a nice little light on it as well. There is also a little LED strip kind of dead center there. It's kind of like a really warm, almost orangish yellow kind of color. Just adds a little bit of ambient light, I guess. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but you know, it adds a little bit of spice, I guess. Also, there's a little bit of brickwork. Again, not highly detailed on the actual brick kind of stuff as well. Similar to kind of like what we saw on the roof, but it is there, adds a little bit more texture, little door, things like that. As for the grounds, there is not too much happening, but there is some stuff. We got like a little chicken, which I don't recall ever seeing on a Lemax house. I'm sure it's been done. I just don't recall it. There's also some bottles, a little food delivery box, you know, little like bones and like a chair, things like that. Just stuff to kind of fill it in, I think is kind of what's going on there. Because truly, you know, all the money is on this animation action that we're getting on this piece. Okay, now working our way to the left side of the building, there is a hidden gem here that I didn't see initially. I'm gonna go right to it. There is these arms that are reaching out of the bottom of like this door thing here, and it's really smooth, a beautiful, beautiful touch. And I love the concept. It goes from like human to wolf, you know, with the full moon kind of thing, right? Become a wolf, etc. Really cool, a total hidden gem there. Of course, there's some more, you know, signage and a trash can, things like that, but that arm thing is a total jewel on this piece. Working our way to the right side of the house, not too much going on this side. There's a grub sign, a little tree, etc. You know, the show is in the animation, guys. I can't stress that enough. However, because there is so much to see, this building potentially could look good from a lot of angles, especially having that arm animation we just spoke about. Lastly, the back of the building, kind of simple, not too much going on, but there's definitely enough to where, again, it could look good from quite a few different angles. You know, it's got a big section of the roof, some nice little details in the woodwork, but overall, I mean, it's the back of the building. Okay, so there is two things about this house that I want to note for you. The full moon diner sign does have a light that kind of is showing from the bottom of the actual roof itself, not the one that is hanging off the roof in front, but there's actually some kind of illumination in the moon itself where the roof is at. Not ultra bright, maybe at night you would see it more. It really shows from the bottom of the moon, but it is there, but not the brightest in the world. And then the second thing I wanted to show you was on the chimney in the front, there's what looks to be like some kind of vent or something on top, really small. However, it looks like it was meant to hold something because there's actually a hole in it, and it looks like there might have been at some point the idea of having something there. So a little bit of a mystery there, but I guess, you know, just sum it up as a vent for the chimney for now. But I am curious if at some point in the design, if there was possibly going to be something there. So it's a little bit of mystery about the house. But anyways, that is the Full Moon Diner. It's definitely going to be a popular house this year. There is a boatload of animation on this piece. My personal favorite will always be that sign. I hope to see more of that in the future. I'm going to go ahead and hit the lights so you can see and hear this thing in all of its glory. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. And as always, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.